Hello and welcome to the Boundless Sovereign. Here we are, chapter 5 of the Tao Te Ching. We are working through this chapter by chapter, going through and deep diving each of these and helping to unlock the wisdom in each of these chapters. Chapter 5 is the Bellows, and it is a doozy of a chapter, as they all seem to be. So, without further ado, let's jump in. Heaven and earth are not kind. They treat the myriad things as straw dogs. Taoists are also not kind. They treat ordinary folk as straw dogs. The space between heaven and earth is like a bellows, empty but never exhausted. The more it is worked, the more issues forth from it. Many words are soon spent. Hold fast to the center. I'm also going to be reading the River Master's commentary here out of the Tao Te Ching via John Minford's version, which is a fantastic read, and I would recommend you reading it or listening to it. It's fantastic. So here is his the River Master's commentary. The Taoist nurtures the myriad folk, not with kindness, but according to the laws of nature, emulating heaven and earth, emulating the harmonious breath energy of the Tao, which circulates in the empty space between heaven and earth, through which the myriad things are born. A bellows is empty, but nonetheless produces a resounding breath. Cast off passion, moderate desire, cherish the purity of a bright spirit. Much business harms the spirit. Many words harm the person. If the mouth keeps going, the tongue keeps wagging, misfortune will surely follow. Yeah, so here we go. The bellows. This is referring quite literally to breath, the breath energy, which if you follow any sort of breathing technique or sorry, my nose is a little sniffly this morning. If you follow any sort of breathing technique, you realize that breathing can relax the nervous system. So let's just do a couple of quick breaths. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Count of 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Out. You can feel that relaxing happening in the body. And it also reduces stress, calms the mind, and slows the heart. So all good things. And help you to enter the present moment. One thing in this chapter that feels maybe a little bit weird to some is the idea that heaven and earth are not kind. And if you think about it in terms of how the world tends to flow, people are born, they live challenging lives, and then they ultimately die. And there seems to be little remorse from heaven and earth on this fact, right? If you ever had a pet you've had for a few years, and at some point they get old and they die, and despite your feelings and your love and your wish that they could stay around forever, they ultimately do die, and so does everything in this life, right? And ultimately does die. And what's interesting is it draws the parallel between heaven and earth are not kind, and they treat the myriad things, which is everything in the world, as straw dogs. A straw dog is an old way of saying basically something that we could just toss in the trash. Back in the ancient Chinese days, they used to use straw dogs for worship, and then they would trample them over or burn them after they were done with them. So it's basically an idea of treating something as sacred, but also treating it as if it's not worth much. And I would say that in some ways is the human experience, because in if you look at a human, we are very similar in nature to all our fellow human beings, and aren't super special or necessarily, I don't want to say unique, so not special. So humans, we have 2 arms, 2 legs, 5 fingers, 10 fingers, 10 toes, 2 eyes, 1 nose, 1 mouth. We tend to be exactly who we are, right, as humans. Although we do have intrinsic value that is unique and different, depending on the human being, and each human brings a level of just beingness that is different, right, and that is of benefit to the world. So while we're not special as humans, we are unique, and that uniqueness does have intrinsic value. The other part here is they correlate the heaven and earth are not kind. Also, Taoists are not kind. So people who follow Taoism, right, and follow the Tao, which is the way, and they treat ordinary folk as straw dogs, which is to say that I think what it's trying to say is this is again pointing to a level of detachment from the evolution of life, right? So while we love people and we love our lives, there's a recognition that everything has its turn, right? It's born, it rises, it falls, it dies, right? There's this evolution, and to attach ourselves again, this to me is a harkens back to attachment. You will lose yourself in that attachment, because eventually all things pass, good, bad, or otherwise. Everything has its day, and it eventually carries on. I like the River Master. The River Master, just, I think it really hits it. Cast off passion, moderate desire, cherish purity of a bright spirit. Cast off passion. The idea is that you're really, again, you're emptying yourself of like this heat of attachment to the physical world and to emotions and to thoughts. Moderate desire. Here we are again. It's another recurring theme here in these early chapters is moderating desire, limiting desire, eliminating desire in some cases. The root of suffering, as I said, I think in an earlier chapter, is this looping desire, right? Much business harms the spirit. This is so true, and it's part of the reason I think why getting too attached to what's happening via the phenomena around you is because the more you attach to what's happening, the more business is happening in your mind, in your heart, and this just hijacks your internal resources, and makes you not super good in the world, right? And not helpful. And Taoism is really focused on internal, like, well-being, right? And some folks, especially in some of the Christian religion and some of the other religions, where it's very much focused externally on helping others, on doing the right thing, morality, all these things, right? When you look at Buddhism and Taoism and some of these Eastern, they focus internally. And the reason they do that, in my opinion, is that the internal experience is the outer experience. So everything is experienced internally. Even everything you experience outside of you or perceive outside of you is happening. The experience is happening internally. You're seeing out of your eyes. You're feeling in your body. You're touching the table. You're hearing. Hearing happens internally. Tasting happens internally. It's an internal sensation. Everything you experience in your entire life is an internal experience. So if your internal environment is chaotic or just ebbs and flows, crazy extremes, that's going to impact how you show up in the world. So if you don't have this internal environment under control, and what I mean by under control is that it's regulated, and you may still feel emotional from time to time. You may still feel frustrated. You may still see things that you don't agree with in the world. That's fine. But you're not letting it emotionally hijack you, and you keep yourself in balance. And when you keep yourself in balance, you can show up in the world in a way that is more beneficial to the people around you than if you were a complete crazy person. So when people say it is selfish to focus internally, it is not selfish to focus internally, because it's actually selfish not to. Because if you don't, you will be a tyrant, a crazy person, a lunatic, potentially, to the people around you. And when you do that, that is selfish, because you're letting yourself become emotionally hijacked all the time. So, wow, that was a here we are, chapter 5, the bellows. One last point here: if the mouth keeps opening, if the tongue keeps wagging, misfortune will surely follow. That is the truth. Peace begets peace, and chaos begets chaos. So today, are you going to make a change? Are you going to do something different? Think about this. Meditate on this tonight before you go to sleep. Are you too involved with your life? Are you too in everybody else's business? Are you too into your emotions, into your egos, into what's happening around you? If so, stop, breathe, focus on the heart, let yourself settle, and find the peace. That's chapter 5. Hey, if this resonated with you, I want to thank you for listening. If this resonated with you, like and subscribe to the channel. And the channel is, again, The Boundless Sovereign. It is a channel dedicated to helping you reflect on your life, so that you can be a better, more productive, more contributing person in the world. So thank you again, and we will see you in the next chapter, chapter 6.